will not be surprised by this. And how close are we to this? We just saw the fighting break out in Sudan, and they're concerned about the biological lab now that may be compromised, and what's going to come forth from this biological lab. I mean, we don't know. This could be the future outbreak that's going to take place. This pandemic treaty is all about gain of function as well.
I think we should all be shocked that the United States had biolabs in Sudan. The former Secretary of State Victoria Nuland had admitted that there were biolabs in Ukraine. We were told there weren't, they were going back and forth. But why is this going on? Why biolabs? What is this about? But I think more than anything, what we need to know is who are the players who are advocating for the United States of America to give up sovereignty over healthcare issues to the UN. It's Bill Gates. It's Klaus Schwab. It's people like Anthony Fauci. And now Joe Biden. These are not the people, in my opinion, that we should be listening to who have the best interest at heart for our freedom and our sovereignty. And I just want to remind everyone, we have the best example during the last 3 years of what it is like to live with the World Health Organization. Because the World Health Organization already made recommendations throughout COVID. And our president, Joe Biden, adopted those recommendations, hook, line, and sinker, as though Congress passed them into law. Just realize Congress never passed laws on masking, on mandating vaccination, on lockdown, on shutting down schools or elementary schools. None of this ever happened. We're shutting down mom and pop grocery stores. Congress didn't pass laws. This was the Center for Disease Control, and this was the World Health Organization that made recommendations. So we already know how devastating to our economy and our freedom and to our personal health these decisions are under the World Health Organization. It would be far worse if they were given sole control and the United States was completely cut out of resisting what it is the World Health Organization tells us we have to do.
This would actually take what we've experienced over these last few years and really put it on steroids.
Yes, that's exactly right. But we don't have to go down that route. That's the lesson. Right now, the World Health Organization doesn't have that level of power. They're advisory only. But the Biden administration has done everything it can to get nations on board with giving up their sovereignty. And that's why we're embroiled right now in the big discussion. Number one discussion in D.C. right now is raising the debt ceiling. In other words, allowing Congress to borrow more money and print more money that it doesn't have. Well, what's the leverage? To me, the leverage should be that we will not raise the debt ceiling unless President Biden gets us out of the World Health Organization. You know, President Trump did. He notified the WHO during the COVID pandemic. He saw how wrong and how bad the World Health Organization was. He notified them. The United States is leaving the WHO, and we're no longer going to fund you anymore. But it takes 1 year for a nation to get out of the WHO. President Trump didn't go back to the White House. So on the very first day that Joe Biden was inaugurated as our next president, he put the United States back into the World Health Organization, and he restored the funding to the World Health Organization. So he put us in, but we can get out. And that's what we need to tell our senators and our representatives and President Biden. We don't want to give up our sovereignty to the World Health Organization. In fact, what we want is to get the United States out of the World Health Organization and defund them. And one way to do that is to tie raising the debt ceiling to getting the U.S. out of the WHO and defunding them.
Friends, I'm going to provide you a phone number here to the Capitol switchboard. I'm going to actually give you 2 numbers. One is the House switchboard, one is the Senate. You can usually get through to either by this, but at least not everybody's calling the same number at the same time. You can reach the House Capitol Hill switchboard, and the House switchboard is 202-225-3121. 202-225-3121. The Senate switchboard is 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121. Now, if you're looking also, friends, if you want to go look at the direct number to your legislator's office, you can go to house.gov and senate.gov. Get that direct number as well as their district offices so that you can reach out to the district level as well as their DC number. Now, Dr. Bachman, if you were on the phone right now with your senator or your congressman, what would you say to them on this issue?
I would say to them that I need them to pay attention, and I need them to contact Speaker McCarthy and tell him to don't raise the debt ceiling unless Joe Biden agrees to get the United States out of the World Health Organization and defund it. That's what I would say first of all. And then I would say, if that isn't going to happen, you've got to get the United States out of the World Health Organization, and you've got to defund it by any other means, and you've got to do it right away. Not one more dime of spending from the United States Capitol until the United States gets out of the World Health Organization. There's no second chance on this. Once our sovereignty is given to the World Health Organization, it will be impossible, absent a miracle, to ever get that sovereignty back. So this is the moment, and it's the urgency of the hour.
And again, friends, the number here, House member 202-225-3121. Your 2 U.S. senators, 202-224-3121. You can demand that they get us out of the World Health Organization. Tied into the negotiation, folks, you may not know this, but Joe Biden had said, President Biden had indicated, no, we will not negotiate on this debt ceiling. And we had that from Karine Jean-Pierre as well. No negotiations. Well, guess what, folks? They're now going to negotiate with Kevin McCarthy. They have had a majority votes in the House to bring down spending limits, and they can put this as part of the negotiation as well to get us out of the World Health Organization and not allow us to be a signatory on this world pandemic treaty here. And it's vitally important to be in contact with them. Dr. Bachman, there's something else I want to point out. Excuse me. And you had mentioned that about President Trump taking us out of the WHO and so forth, and the times involved with this. I'm looking at this pandemic treaty here, and yes, nations can withdraw. However, they can withdraw not until 2 years have gone by of this treaty. Once it's enforced, they have to wait for 2 years before they can withdraw from the treaty as to give their notice. But once they give their notice, then they have to wait another year before they can actually get out of it. So once we sign on to this, we are bound by at least 3 years. You bring another president in who said we're going to get out of this, and you know, he's going to have to wait for those years to go by before that can take place. Meanwhile, another president can come in, put us right back in again.
Well, let me tell you, I think if President Trump were to be president again, he would just notify the World Health Organization, we're out. Whatever your protocol is, we're out, and we're not going to fund you. Because that's what he did last time around.
Sure.
I have a good hunch he would do that again this time around and not be pushed around by these globalist types. But I just want to remind everyone, the phone number to call is 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. Trust me, those calls make a huge difference. I've been in Congress, they make a huge difference.
We'll be back in just 1 minute. You're listening to Crosstalk.
From film producer Dave Cristiano comes the Christian film, Always a Winner. It follows the challenges and conflicts faced by a girls' golf team at a Christian high school. Always a Winner unfolds many key themes on pride, arrogance, relationships, forgiveness, and standing for life.
You can't get an abortion. Yes, I can. No, you can't. I have to. No, you don't. Baby's not very far along. The baby was a baby of conception. You can't tell your baby. Hannah, this is not your problem.
The 85-minute DVD, Always a Winner, is available for a donation of $18. And through May 31st, you may receive additional copies going to the same address for a donation of just $10 more for each additional copy. For Always a Winner, call 1-800-729-9829.
You're listening to Crosstalk on VCY America, and with us today, Dr. Michelle Bachman, who is the Dean of the School of Government at Regent University. We're talking about this dangerous world pandemic treaty that is coming up coming up by the World Health Organization at the World Health Assembly, May 21st through the 30th, 2023, the 76th World Health Assembly. And friends, they're heading down a track that is, it's got grease skids here. They're seeking in a very quick way to bring this about and really take control over the world. It's really about control in every aspect that control would be. And one of the things we also point out with this, Dr. Bachman, this would put the World Health Organization in charge of all pharmaceuticals of all nations. If a nation manufactures them, well, you can't use this for your own. You need to ship this to this country instead. They would be really in charge of even the supply chain.
They would be. What they're seeking is redistribution of wealth. They call it inclusion, equity, diversity.
Yes.
And so what they want is for the richer, more wealthy nations to manufacture drugs or pathogens. They want them to hand over their research and development, the genome sequencing, hand all of that over so that the World Health Organization would own it, and then the World Health Organization would decide who gets these drugs. So even though they're manufactured in the United States, they may not be allowed to U.S. citizens. They may be sent over to communist China for distribution. We don't know, but that's what's so bizarre. Why in the world would we trust that one voice, one single decision maker, why would we presume that they would make the right decision for every person on Earth 100% of the time? That never happens. Take a look just in the United States. We have trial lawyers. We have medical malpractice because the right decision isn't made every time. So if this happens, we would have nowhere to go from adverse reactions to any matter from a health perspective. We couldn't appeal to anyone because it is an international organization that is dominated by the Communist Chinese Party. And remember, don't forget, the number one identified enemy of the Communist Chinese was America. They seek the defeat of the United States. Why would President Biden seek to empower an organization run by the Communist Chinese whose goal is to defeat the United States? This makes no rational sense. And that's why we have got to make sure that our senators and our representatives lead with Joe Biden, and we have to make sure that by treaty they don't give him one more dime of money or any agreement on any issue until he pulls us out of the World Health Organization and completely defunds them.
Friends, let me play another clip here. This is from Tedros Ghebreyesus, who heads the World Health Organization as it relates to this treaty.
International health regulations do not give WHO power to dictate health policy to any country. Neither will this accord give WHO power to dictate policy to any country. This accord or agreement will be an agreement by countries. WHO's role will be to help implement the accord that countries agree. An accord that captures all the challenges we have faced during this pandemic is essential for making sure that the world does not repeat the mistakes that were made this pandemic. If we repeat the same mistakes, I don't think we will forgive ourselves, and our children and grandchildren will not forgive.
Now here he is gaslighting the world with that statement because he's saying, no, we're not going to take your sovereignty. This is not us calling it. This is nations coming together. We're just coming alongside to facilitate those nations. We can't believe that for a moment.
No, Dr. Tedros would just re-up for another 5 years. So we know who the acting general will be of the World Health Organization. The failed controversial communist from Ethiopia, who is essentially a puppet of the Communist Chinese Party. He's talking out of two sides of his mouth because you need to look at the documents and the amendments and the proposed pandemic treaty. When you look at the language of what they're proposing, the language gives up national sovereignty to the World Health Organization. The last person I would trust on anything is this Dr. Tedros. That's his first name, Tedros, from Ethiopia. So he is the one who made a lot of the mistakes during the last pandemic. And so we certainly wouldn't want to empower this person who's not answering to us. He's answering to the Communist Chinese.
Friends, our phone number here to Crosstalk today is 800-733-9829. We'll take your questions for Dr. Bachman or your brief comments. 1-800-733-9829. Let me repeat the numbers to Capitol Hill. There's two switchboards that go in, but one at the main Senate switchboard, the main House switchboard, 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121, as well as 202-225-3121. You may go to senate.gov, house.gov, go to the website, you'll find, put in get your direct number to your legislator, to your congressman, to your senator, as well as you'll see their district office as well, and to certainly flood their lines with calls from concerned individuals all across the nation. They need to hear from you today. We see in this document, friends, I'm just tired of hearing these words, diversity, equity, inclusion. It has just gone off the rails in this country. But Dr. Bachman, if we sign on to this, it will be like we've not seen anything on this issue, because as I go through this document, all throughout it you see diversity and equity, words like sustainability. I mean, this is really a forerunner to the Great Reset, isn't it?
Well, it is, and it is the empowerment document that empowers global communism.
Yes.
If you want a bottom line, that's what this document does. It empowers the nations of the world who were living under a sense of freedom, and instead it makes those, it puts chains on these countries that were based on freedom, and then we become servants of the global communist movement. That's what these geniuses, these evil geniuses wanted from the very beginning, but usually people can see through it. What's very strange now is that the mainstream media has gone silent, and the social media has gone silent. Facebook, Google, these various social media companies, they are calling disinformation
Yes.
what is actually these primary source documents revealing what these people want to do. And that's why I'm so grateful for your show, so that you can tell people. There's various sites out there that your listeners can go to. ExitTheFools.who.com or .org, StopTheFools.com or .org. There's various sites out there, and then you can just click on the amendments for the proposed pandemic treaty. There's two tracks that the Biden administration wants to succeed by. One is the Global Pandemic Treaty. One is by offering these amendments in Geneva, Switzerland. But the results are the same. The results are to hand away our freedom and instead adopt basically global communism.
Again, friends, the website's exitthewho.com or .org and stopthewho.com or .org. Let's go to phone lines here. We're going to begin with Greg calling in from Bloomington, Illinois. Greg, you're on the air.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. Your guest is right on what you say, and many of the topics that you've had over the last, several months, years, shows how dire straits we are. Obviously, we need the Lord, but a lot of this isn't going to matter unless we get a handle on our elections and make sure that there's no cheating, because I believe the last election was lost because of cheating. And if we don't get a handle on this, the only other way that we're going to get any satisfactory results is God himself interact. So, how to get a handle on this election? This is my call. Thank you.
Sure. Any comment, Dr.
Amen. And I encourage people to read Psalms chapter 1 and Psalms chapter 2. God will take care of the wicked. The vengeance doesn't belong to us. So we would recognize that he is number one and he is holy, and we cry out to God in all of this. But we also recognize that this is real. This was predicted in the Bible that a one world government would come. But we're told to occupy the become with salt and light. And so we're not supposed to just sit back and let it happen and let an antichrist beast system come into the world. We're to resist. We're to push back. That doesn't mean we're violent and that we take guns and we start shooting people. We don't do that. But what we're supposed to do right now in this moment is use our prayer voice, but also use our action steps. So because we still live in a free country, we use the mechanisms of freedom. And for those who can have input on the election, the biggest problem in elections today is mail-in balloting. That's where the cheating comes from. There's a whole bag of fraudulent tricks that are deployed, but mail-in balloting is the chief among them.
Let's go to Ralph in South Dakota. Ralph, you're on the air.
Very good points on the previous caller. But I guess what I called about is, I'd like Michelle's opinion on, number one, I have come to believe that Joe Biden is not going to give on this negotiation because he feels like, if the country defaults, that's what they want to do, is bring our economy down, for one thing. And number two, if he gets everything he wants, okay, he's got everything he's been talking about. And secondly, I believe Joe Biden is simply China's puppet, and there are people behind the scenes, telling him what to do, and he's just not capable of being president. So,
Ralph, thank you for your comments there. So this matter of, we understand that the White House has invited Kevin McCarthy now to come for negotiations on this issue. Sadly, many are echoing the comments here from our caller from South Dakota that they believe that there are those in power that are really trying to bring this nation down. And if we do bring this nation down, if we surrender our sovereignty, Dr. Bachman.
Well, you're right, and no one administration could be wrong as many times as the Biden administration has been wrong. You'd have to be right once in a while. So when you look at the kind of country that we had before the pandemic, on every metric, the United States was at the top of its game. That was during the Trump years. We never had more successful outcomes and policies and an economy than during those years. How could it be possible? It could only be intentional destruction. And I think if you look at all of the decisions that have been made during these Biden years, this is intentional destruction, from my perspective, meant to bring down the United States government. But then you have to ask yourself, who has benefited? In almost every instance, you'd have to say the communist Chinese government are the ones who have benefited. And to look at all of the evidence that there is from the Biden family and how they appear to have been on the take from the Chinese Communist Party. That is a terrible wrong, but our Justice Department refuses to look at the obvious.
Yes, indeed. A quick break. Callers, stay in line. Our lines are packed. We'll get to your calls here coming up after the break. Dr. Michelle Bachmann is with us today. And if you missed the numbers to the switchboards that take us to the House and the Senate, stay with us. We'll be giving those numbers again. You're listening to Crosstalk on the VCY America Network.
For the Worldview Report, I'm Brandon Howe. Recently, I had on two members of the South Dakota State Legislature, a rancher, and Margaret Whitefield, who's an expert on the confiscation of America's farmland by the cultural Marxists, the globalists, those committed to the Great Reset of Klaus Schwab, which is a coalition of big government and big business. South Dakota is, well, on the firing line of protecting private property rights. But this is going on in many states, so pay attention. What's it about in South Dakota right now? Putting down pipe to capture carbon, a carbon pipeline. And they're trying to use eminent domain to take the property of about 200 farmers. There are many problems with this. Not only the issue, foremost, of private property, but then the danger of these pipelines. Not to mention, this is a gigantic scam on the taxpayer, and it needs to be exposed. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Crosstalk on VCY America. And friends, again, we want to mention this World Assembly, the World Health Assembly coming up this month, May 21st through the 30th. The 76th World Health Assembly is going to be held in Geneva, Switzerland. And parties from around the world are coming together to discuss their amendments and putting together this pandemic treaty. Folks, number one, be praying. Be praying on this. The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Number two, make your calls. As Dr. Bachmann indicated, we are to be salt and light. Scripture doesn't say if this happens, then you can stop being salt and light. No, it's required of stewards that a man be found faithful. Let's be faithful through this. You can reach out to your members of the House. Use either switchboard 202-225-3121. Send a switchboard 202-224-3121. Let's get right back to the phone lines. Merlin, Tennessee, you're on the air.
Jim, very quick things. They don't have to worry about hiding anything anymore because they control the elections. Secondly, Cinema of Arizona blew us away. A week and a half ago, Bill 884 was introduced to the U.S. Senate that everybody in America would get a digital ID. Thirdly, I'm very concerned that if it does come down to a number that we cannot buy or sell, that millions will take the number because they were told we won't be here when that happens. May God help us all.
Thank you. God help us all indeed. And here's your opportunity, certainly, to remember this in prayer and to get engaged in the process. We have Pastor Paul calling from Grafton, West Virginia. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. With so little time to act and so important this issue is, I'm a pastor desperate to get a copy of the CD of today's broadcast so that I can play it to my congregation as soon as possible. I'm sure there probably are other pastors the same way. So however that can be facilitated, I'd be interested in it.
Pastor Paul, within just a couple hours from now, it will be up on our website, crosstalkamerica.com, and that's free to take that audio and share it with others. And if everybody would do just that, if you'd like to get a hard copy, a CD copy, you can call our switchboard. We make every Crosstalk program available, just a donation of $6 to cover our duplication and postage expense. But that's another way that you can get the hard CD copy. But it should be posted up on our website, crosstalkamerica.com, within just a few hours from now, and then just take that link and spread it far and wide.
Okay, call back after the show to get the CD.
The CD, you call this number, 1-800-729-9829.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Dr. Bachmann, this is really something the former host here, Vic Eliason, before the Lord called him home, had this expression, call 10 friends. Call 10 friends. It's really what people need to do. Take the information that they're learning today, call 10 other people to inform them as well.
And today you can call 10 friends. If you've got Facebook, you can go and put up this link to the show on Facebook, or you can tell people to go to the website exitthefood.com or exitthefoo.org or stopthewho.com and stopthewho.org. There's 10 reasons to oppose it, citing the articles in the document. So the original amendments are there. You can click them. The proposed treaty is there. You can click on that. So all of the materials are there, but also there's simplification, where it's just 10 reasons to oppose it.